What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, joined by the Fitty Trent and Kevel. Kevel's on camera today. Nice to see you, Kevel. Look like you got a nice little haircut there, buddy.
I did, yes. Oh, I went to Rinne.
There you go. All right, nice to see Kevel. Anyways, it was also nice to see some good hockey tonight. The Anaheim Ducks, Nashville Predators gave us another banger. I'll give you a shout out there, Dylan Villa. You got a shout out for that. That's the classic Dylan Villa banger. The Anaheim Ducks win it in overtime over the Nashville Predators in game number 4. And they gave us a good game, like I said. Better than, of course, yesterday's game. And then that's where I'm starting it off, Fitty Trent. Because a lot of people may think there's some happening here on the bottom line view. Where was Mitch? Where was Mitch when the Penguins got destroyed? Where was he? He wasn't on the channel. He wasn't on the recap. I was at a lacrosse game literally at 8 o'clock. It started. I have to be there an hour early. So I had to leave, get there on time, warm up, get ready to play the game. So I wasn't able to, and I was disappointed in the Penguins. But we're not going to talk about the Penguins today. I just wanted to address that, all right? I just wanted to address that. And also, I am fully aware that I am the biggest heel in the NHL community on YouTube. So I embrace everybody's hate towards me. Thank you. All right, let's go. Anaheim Ducks, Nashville Predators, 3-2 in overtime. Okay, so we have Thompson goal, Ritchie goal, Raquel goal. We have a Forsberg goal and also a Subban goal. This game started off 1-0 Anaheim. Anaheim jumped off really hot, had a really good first period, had a really good road first period, as Kevel would say. In the second period, again, skating circles around Nashville. I mean, they had another great second period. They came out, looked like their best hockey, best 2 periods they put together, maybe in the entire playoffs, but definitely of this series. Then the third period, the game was kind of, okay, looks like the Ducks are maybe going to hang on to this. It's about 6 minutes left. They're playing pretty defensive hockey. They're not really going all out offensively. Very sound hockey. And then around 7 minutes left, it's like the brains of the Anaheim Ducks shut off. They flipped a switch from on to off. And then we have guys like, how do you pronounce his name? Chase?
Cachet or something like that.
Okay, Kasha. It's Cachet, but it's spelled Case. So that's why I was calling him Case Keenum. Because if anybody knows who Case Keenum is, he's a terrible NFL quarterback. And that was the equivalent of this guy, whatever his name is. So he got a terrible penalty, all right? He took a terrible penalty, which set the Predators on the power play. The Predators, they're gained some momentum. Of course, they have that home crowd. Oh, yeah. By the way, the 7th man. Is that – okay, Kev, is that not just a ripoff of the Seattle Seahawks?
No, not really. Not really. People do it. The Riders have this. Rough Riders, the Saskatchewan Rough Riders have the 13th. People do it. It's unique. I'm not gonna. It's cheesy, sure, but other people do it too. Soon, someone in baseball will have the 10th man too.
All right, we'll see. Actually, do you know just a fun fact from Mitch here yourself? The 12th man originally came from the USC Trojans, which, of course, were coached by Pete Carroll. He then took that to Seattle, where we know it best as the 12th man of the Seattle Seahawks. There you go. But the 7th man of the Nashville Predators got them on their feet, got them a power play goal, and got them right back into the game. And then what happens? The great Kevin Bieksa. The great Kevin Bieksa, who I think has always sucked, but he especially sucks right now, took a terrible penalty. This guy is how old is Kevin Bieksa, Trent? How old is he?
Off the top of my head, I want to say he's 35 or 36.
You're a 35-year-old defenseman. You've played in this league for at least 10 years, at least, and you take a terrible high-sticking penalty to once again put the Nashville Predators on the power play.
The correct answer is 35 years old.
And what happens? Nashville ties it up. So Nashville did have a good comeback. I'll give them that. Good comeback. But this was more on Anaheim. Anaheim took a couple of terrible penalties. They were, terrible situationally in this game. Just really bad. And some of that falls on the coaching. Some of that falls also on the players and also on the fatigue of the players. But you just can't do that stuff. And there was a couple of moments in this game where they could have made the simple play on one of the penalty kills. They could have made a simple pass. I don't remember who the defenseman was. They could have made a simple pass up the boards right to Getzlaf to get the puck out of the zone. But instead he ices the puck. Why did he ice the puck, bro? And then this guy, I forget his name again, Case Keenum, he comes back on the ice. And what does he do, Trent? He comes from the penalty box. He doesn't cover the defenseman. The winger's job in hockey is to cover the point. He doesn't cover the point. Who scores the goal, Trent?
The great Philip Forsberg.
PK Subban scores the goal.
I'm kidding.
All right. PK Subban scores the goal. And Case Keenum is supposed to be covering him. Instead, he goes to in front of the net to screen his own goalie. Anaheim sucks.
Anaheim sucks if they won the game.
They won the game. I credit that. Now let's get into overtime, all right? This is Mitch's breakdown. We're going to get into these guys in a little bit. So in overtime, we have a team that is resilient. Anaheim comes out. I thought they were going to fall right on their face. Instead, they come out. They play a good game. They get a lucky bounce. Corey Perry, a nice little play from the corner, rips it in front of the net. And you notice how he kind of like waited that extra second. Again, we've talked about that. Corey Perry did that against Edmonton in overtime goal with that deke and waited the extra second to score. He did it again on this play, Trent and Kev. He did it again. He waited for that guy to get in front of the net. Whether he was going to tip it or not, he shot it at the net, and it went in. Got a little lucky there. But there was a lot of luck involved in this game. There was a lot of posts for both sides. There was a lot more goals that could have been had. I thought that this was an offensive game that really didn't produce a lot of goals, if you know what I mean. But I enjoyed this game. This was a really well-played game from both sides. If you're a Predators fan, I wouldn't be too worried. But before the game, I did predict something, Trent. Do you want to say what I did predict before this game?
I don't know.
And I'm prepared to get the hate from the Predators fans, but you can go ahead.
Mitch, I don't know if I should be able to say it because it was such an outlandish comment that you made. So I think you have to own this, and I think that you have to say it on the bottom line view.
Trent is so face. He's such a baby face. He can't even tell the crowd what I said. So what I said was,
as a heel, Mitch, you need to own your prediction.
Okay, I said
you can't toss it to the baby face.
I said whoever wins this game is going to win the series. Whoever wins this game is going to win the series. The Anaheim Ducks won this game. Now it's 2-2. If the Predators would have won, it would have been 3-1. It would have been game, set, match, in my opinion. All right. Anaheim comes out, and the reason why I think they win this game, they win this series. They screwed up in the end of the third period, but they came back. They were resilient and won in overtime. And the number one thing, they finally broke that you can beat Nashville in Nashville. They finally broke that. So I think that's a big deal, and that's a huge set of confidence. And that also hurts the confidence in Nashville a little bit. So I think Anaheim is now going to win this series because they tied it up. Now, that's my prediction. It's not going to be a fact. Nashville could obviously win the series, so don't yell at me like it's a fact. But that's just my prediction and my opinion. Now, if Nashville would have won this game and won in overtime, I would have said, yeah, Nashville's going to win the series. And I picked Nashville to win the series in 7. But now I see it going to Anaheim because of this big win. Go ahead, guys.
I disagree. And I'll tell you why. Nashville has proven to be a resilient road team. They didn't need to win tonight. Would it have been a benefit if they won tonight? Yes. They're up 3-1. And I think they would have put the nail in the coffin for Anaheim, who would not have won 3 straight. However, it's still 2-2. You only need to win one game on the road, game 5 or game 7. I still don't think that Anaheim broke this Nashville mystique. Yeah, they won. But I think that there was a lot of things that Nashville, I think, showed a lot of resiliency tonight as well. Rinne didn't have a great start, but that save on Silverberg early in the third period, on that Anaheim power play, kept them at a 2-0 deficit, and then they were able to come back. He did make some good saves in overtime until Perry or Nate Thompson's been officially given credit for the goal. And I still think John Gibson can be had. Anaheim or Nashville didn't get a lot of shots, good shots tonight, but when they did, they were able to get him off his game a little bit. They were frustrating him because they were running into him. I think that they're starting to wear down the Anaheim goaltending, and I think that the defenseman that you want to pick on, Mitch, was named Johnny Manson, but I'm not impressed with this Anaheim 6, not as much as I am with the Nashville 6. I still think in terms of the two teams, the Predators are still the better team, and I think that they can win. If they need to win 2 games on the road, they are able to do it, but I actually think that they can win the next 2 games. I think that this going to overtime actually is more of an emotional thing for Anaheim in a negative sense that this would be for Nashville, because Anaheim absolutely needed this game. Nashville didn't necessarily need this game to win. They would have liked to have had it, but they're still at 2-2.
Kev, I'll respond to you by this. And I think this game was so good to watch because we did indeed see the flaws of both teams. I think what makes a really good game is usually when we see some flaws and we also see some really good things from both teams. For Nashville, maybe the first time in this entire playoffs, I saw Rinne get really rattled. That was early in the game. And I know that he wasn't terrible in this game by no means, but I saw him get rattled. And that is a little bit concerning that, Anaheim now knows that they can rattle him. They know that now. Also, I saw with Anaheim that their youth and even their experience with freaking Kevin Bieksa, they can make bad mistakes, that Nashville maybe doesn't make, especially with their defensemen. I've been very high on both teams' defense, but again, I do love the Predators' defense. I said it was the strongest since round 1. But with Anaheim, that inexperience did cost them a couple of goals in a couple of key situations. But I saw an Anaheim team that mostly dominated this game for the most part. They did give up a lead thanks to a couple stupid penalties that they did take. But I saw Anaheim come out in a game that, many people in the past would have looked at them and said, Anaheim's done right here in this game. But they came out and they won. So I think there are positive and negatives for both teams. Now, I still really like both teams, and I think the series will go very far, probably to 7, and who knows what's going to happen. But I'm just making that bold prediction because I just have this funny feeling about who is going to win this game. And I felt like this was the most important game in the entire series.
Yeah, I can see a lot of what you're saying, but to me, when I look at the two teams, still Nashville looks like in depth a stronger team. Tonight, a couple of things that did not work well. I thought Ryan Johansson was pretty invisible tonight, and I don't think he needs to be more visible. I think, though, when I look at the forward, I think the only time that Anaheim seems to get any relentless deep pressure is when Getzlaf, Perry, and Raquel are on. Everyone else, it's not the same. And I feel Nashville can put 2 or 3 different lines out that can put pressure on the defense. So when I look at Nashville, I still find them to be the better team than Anaheim.
Well, that's an interesting point that you brought up there, Kev, because I find that in this series, we actually have finally gotten to see Corey Perry step up and actually do something. The first couple of series, he's kind of been invisible, but these past few games against Nashville, you see him going back to that Corey Perry-esque way of not really sniping every single time that he's on the ice, but as Mitch says, you can tell that he's still that veteran, that he's poised enough with the puck. He knows what he's doing. He knows what to do. He's been there before. And yeah, he enabled his team to dominate the Predators in this game. Yes, it was close, but I'm with Mitch. They did dominate 2 out of the 3 periods and most of overtime. So Ducks, they tied up the series. It's going to be a tight series, 7 games, I say. But another point that Mitch brought up, they rattled Pekka Rinne. Before the goal was scored in overtime, Rinne was yelling at the refs profusely for about 30 seconds. And at that moment, I was saying, Rinne, calm down, calm down, calm down. Because when Rinne gets pissed off, he honestly just kind of forgets about playing goaltender and more focuses on the play that just happened. you saw him get rattled, and that ended up being that goal that got scored.
Well, I also think the Ducks were rattled about the officiating tonight. Specifically, Getzlaf was yelling at the officials about slashes and terrible calls, which is absolutely hilarious that the Ducks are yelling at the officiating about terrible calls and bad bounces. I'm just going to leave that one there, Duck fans. Just putting that out there. Just, you know what's happened. I think.
Okay, Duck fans, hold up real quick. Defend yourself, Duck fans, because we're talking about a Flames fan here. He hates the Ducks. He tweets about how he hates the Ducks.
Come on. No one can dispute the Ducks have gotten breaks from the officials more than any other team in the playoffs. No one, not even Duck fan, can deny that.
Anyways, Trent, are you? Do you want to break down the stats? Because I haven't heard enough of that magnificent voice. Do you want to break down the stats for the game?
I mean, sure, why not there, Mitch?
Talking too much.
but before you do, Trent, before you do, I want to get to the comments because we have some commenters here. We have Sports FX who says, Mitch, do the Pens go with Murray? I feel Fleury should start because he has bounced back after bad games and has deserved to start. Oh, man, this is tough. Thankfully, I'm not Mike Sullivan. But I don't know. It's very, very tough. I mean, Fleury has been playing spectacular, and I understand where you're coming from. But I think that you start Murray, and here's why you start Murray. In my opinion, you start Murray because you need to give the team some, not necessarily motivation, but kind of like put them on notice. Like, we know that it's not Fleury's fault for why they're losing, even though I didn't think he had a great game last game. But Sullivan is saying, let's put this new goalie in net. Let's try and mix things up. And also, you know, let's play for our goalie, no matter who it is. And I think, like, you know, just putting a different goalie in the net is a different mojo for the team overall. Like, it's just a different mindset. It's a restart. It's a reset. And I think by doing that, it helps the team's confidence level. And obviously, Pittsburgh's been through it all. Most of these players have had a ton of experience in these type of situations. But I just think putting Murray in net, at least for just this game, you know, maybe if it goes wrong, put Fleury back in and try and save it. But this is a huge game, obviously. If Ottawa wins, it's 3-1. If they win, it's 2-2. And who knows what's going to happen from there, right? So I understand why you would put Fleury back in net. Maybe he does need a rest too, because this guy hasn't been a starting goalie since last year, halfway through the year last year. He wasn't the starting goalie this year. Maybe again, this playoffs is kind of wearing him down as well. So you have to think about that. Murray did play pretty well at the end of that last game. That one goal was a little bit, you know, not really his fault, but I would go with Murray just for the mojo factor of things. I'm interested to see what Trent thinks about that.
No, we touched a little bit about it on the recap yesterday. AC said that you go with Fleury. I say that you go with Murray just because, as Mitch said, he's gotten you there to that Stanley Cup final before. He's won you that Stanley Cup before last year. I find that he was the most composed goaltender in the entire league last year, even though that you split the time 50-50. I mean, Murray down near the end of the stretch, I think he lost something like 3 or 4 games in a row, but I think he only had like 10 or 12 losses in the entire season out of the 40 games that he played. So it's the kind of thing where, yeah, you know what? He had a bad stretch of games, but he proved in that game that he had to come in that he was a solid goaltender. As you said there, Mitch, that goal that he let in, honestly, no goalie was going to stop that, really. Carey Price, no goalie was going to be able to stop that whatsoever. It's just kind of breaks happen like that. So I would go with Murray, see what happens. It's also just one game. And as you said there, Mitch, if he plays one bad game, throw Fleury back in there. That's the great thing with the Penguins. You have 2 great starting goaltenders.
And the thing is, Trent, we're not saying in any way, like, I don't want people to put this, you know, on Fleury or anything. We're saying in no way are the Penguins losing because of Fleury.
No way. No way.
Like, sure, you let in a couple weak ones yesterday, but it wasn't the reason why they lost. They played a terrible game. They started awful. I'm sure these guys talked about it yesterday. So quite frankly, it's not the goalie's fault. No matter who starts in goal, the Penguins just need a better performance in front of him. And hopefully, you know, they get through these injuries, because that is killing me as a fan. But anyways,
Can
guys.
I say something?
Yeah, Kev.
This is going to piss you off. When are we going to give the Ottawa Senators any credit? When exactly?
When they win the series.
Tell me why. They scored 5 goals. They blew your team out last night. And we're still talking about how bad the Penguins played a bad game.
They did, though. Did you not watch the game,
ever any credit? There still has not been a goal in the first and the second period in 3 games in this series allowed by the Ottawa Senators. They've allowed no more than 2 goals in this series, and yet still we're like, well, it's the Pittsburgh Penguins' fault. They just haven't had their game together. They're not that good. If this was Washington, you would be like, where's Alexander Ovechkin?
The thing about this, it's hard.
The Ottawa Senators are the most disrespected team in the National Hockey League, and they are playing better than the Pittsburgh Penguins. You need to own it.
They are right now. I said that. Have I not said that, Trent?
No, he said that.
You just talked about how bad the Pittsburgh Penguins have played.
Because they have played bad.
About the Ottawa Senators. Not even a little bit.
Yeah, I have. I always say, before I say the Penguins have played bad, I say the Ottawa Senators have played a great game. I always say that.
I didn't hear it.
Then you're obviously deaf. Get some new freaking microphone, bro. Get a new headset.
Speak louder. Speak louder. And I'm not only talking about you on Trent. I'm talking about the coverage of this. That nobody's giving the Ottawa Senators enough credit for the way that they're playing. And I'm not saying that they're winning the series, but they're playing really well, and people's got to start giving them some credit the way that they're playing. This is good. This is really good.
It's good, but I mean, they haven't won the series yet. You know, I'll give them the full credit when they win the series, but it's some people are acting like they've already won the Stanley Cup, like they're planning the parade. You know, I just want to wait.
Down Parliament Hill, I'm not planning.
Yeah, I just want to wait, right? So we'll see what happens. But like another thing that I'm just starting to realize, if the Penguins do go down, I don't think it's their fault, because I think they've been absolutely wrecked by injuries, and it's gonna kill me if they lose like that. Like, quite honestly, they played last game without their 2 best defensemen, and they played their last game without 2 top 6 forwards.
That's playoff hockey, though. You have to be prepared for
Trent.
injuries.
Because can you name another team that is doing that right now?
I mean, every team is playing with injuries.
With injuries, but they're playing.
But some shouldn't be playing.
But Kev, you can't even like it. Let's get back to this game because I want to hear the stats.
For those of you that are curious about the Ottawa Senators and wanted to see the Ottawa Senators get some legit respect, I highly recommend the video that we did yesterday about the Ottawa Senators versus the Pittsburgh Penguins, because AC and I gave all the respects in the world to the Ottawa Senators because, yes, they did play a great game. But once again, we're going back into this game because they don't want us to talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins. They have come here to talk about the Ducks and the Nashville Predators. So we open up the game, as we said, and the Ducks, they look like they are dominating this game. And who better to score the first goal but Rickard Rakell? That's right, his 7th of the series. Or not series, but 7th of the playoffs, assisted by Cam Fowler, the great offensive defenseman. Then we go in the second period. The Ducks are playing even better.
Trent, let me cut you off right there. That was a fantastic pass by Cam Fowler. Nobody talked about that pass.
No, it was a fantastic pass. That's why I'm saying Fowler, one of the most best offensive defensemen in the league. He's not Erik Karlsson, but he's still a great offensive defenseman nevertheless. Second period, bigger and better. The Anaheim Ducks come out. Nick Ritchie, the guy who, you know, some people are saying he's getting kind of lucky with these goals, gets his 4th goal of the playoffs, assisted by Nate Thompson and Sammy Vatanen. Hey, Sammy Vatanen, congratulations. You finally didn't give away the puck. You actually gave it to your own team, and look, you got a goal. Looks like the Anaheim Ducks, they're going to actually do great. They're going to sweep away and win this game with a big way. Then next thing you know, third period starts. And as Mitch said, you know, basically halfway through, what happens? The Ducks just shut the switch off in their brain. They decide, let's play Canuck hockey instead of Duck hockey. Instead of being a good playoff team, let's be an AHL team instead. And PK Subban has literally 5 minutes at the point with the puck, writes a novel, sends it off, gets it published, then takes a slap shot and scores. Honestly, he had all the time in the world with that slap shot. Even in the slow-mo replay, that's like a 10-second long clip of him just sitting there and waiting and waiting and waiting. But he finally got the shot through, gets the goal. Then next thing you know, we're driving towards the end of the period. You know, an unnecessary icing call by Montour, I think it was, or Manson. I can't remember which defenseman it was. Unnecessary. Then next thing you know, there's a big drive by Nashville. The puck looks like it goes out of play, at least from Arvidsson's side and whatnot, but it's not. Philip Forsberg picks it up behind the net, shoots one off of Gibson's pad, gets the rebound, jams it home to send this game into overtime. OT starts. We get a couple rushes back and forth, but overall, Anaheim looks like they're dominating. And as we said, Corey Perry just waits that extra second to pass it over to Nate Thompson for his 3rd goal and Corey Perry's 8th assist. And as I said, Corey Perry, arguably, he's been turning it on like that for this series. He's been looking absolutely incredible, I think. He had 4 shots this game, 2 blocks. He did have 2 penalty minutes, but that's okay. Kesler, you know, the guy who keeps on getting in everyone's face, 5 big shots, 3 big blocks, a hit. He's definitely getting in the faces of people. Getzlaf is slowly starting to step back. We don't really see it, but he's slowly starting to cool down a little bit. He was a +1 tonight. He did have a penalty. He only had 1 shot on goal, believe it or not. 3 hits, a block. He had 2 takeaways, though, so he was great on the defensive end. I mean, Antoine Vermette, their 4th-line center. This guy does not get enough credit. 54% in the faceoffs. That's all that they really have him for. He was a -1, though, but he did have a couple takeaways here and there. Case, as we said, or Cachet, or whatever you want to call him, terrible game for him, -1. All that he did, besides the 1 penalty, was he got 1 hit. Their defense, hey, look, some defensemen finally did not have giveaways. Some of them did, however. Hampus Lindholm, 3 big giveaways, was a -1 tonight, but he did have 3 shots on goal. Cam Fowler, 3 shots on goal, 4 big blocks. We did say that Kevin Bieksa, he's back. Hey, he's back from the Calgary Flames. You know, he did excellent against them. Is he still excellent? Well, he's mediocre at best. You know, Mitch will say that he sucks, but I think he's an okay 7th defenseman. Definitely not as good as Shea Theodore, who you
If you're a 7th defenseman, you suck.
Listen, you currently have a 7th defenseman on like your top 2 there, Mitch. So just calm down.
That's what I'm trying to say.
So, you know, I mean, he had an okay game. 2 hits, 2 giveaways, 2 shots on goal, did have a penalty. You know, Gibson, he made 32 big saves. Then we move on to the Nashville Predators. P.A. Parento back in the lineup, back doing nothing, being a -1 in this game. Only got 1 shot on goal, only 1 block. Forsberg did have that goal, 6 big shots for him, 3 big hits, and 3 big takeaways. He was all over the place on the ice tonight. Victor Arvidsson, I mean, he had 3 shots as well. He had a couple of takeaways as well. Johansson, not the best game for him. I mean, yes, he did have a good physical game with 3 big hits, but besides that, we really didn't see anything from him. Pontus Aberg, Austin Watson, and Colton Cison, all these guys were -2. They really did nothing in this game whatsoever to help out their team. Ryan Ellis, he had an okay game. I said that he would be bouncing back and doing excellent. He had a couple shots, 3 blocks. That's okay for him, but 0 hits, so that's kind of disappointing. Yossi completely led their defensive core with PK Subban. Both players had 12 big shots on net. You know, Yossi with 2 big hits. He did have 1 giveaway, though, but PK Subban, 6 big shots, 5 big blocks. He was all over the ice. And Pekka Rinne, he had an okay game, 34 saves out of the 37 shots that he faced, and he didn't let a goal in on the power play. So all things considered, as we said, a great night of hockey. What about you guys? What players did you see that were good? What players did you see that were bad?
Okay, I'm going to bring up 2 players that I thought were the best players on the ice. And again, one of them was Ryan Getzlaf. Yes, he didn't get many points, but every single time he's out there, the guy is creating plays. He's throwing guys to the side. He's creating nice passes to get his wingers open. He's, you know, just creating so much offensively, and especially puck possession time. When he's out there, they always have the puck. And he's been the biggest reason why Corey Perry has come back on. You know, him being with Perry has really helped Perry a ton. So I think that Getzlaf, again, for Anaheim, was their best player, and he showed it again. And then on the other side, I thought the best player for Nashville was Forsberg. Now, he got a point. He got a goal in this game. He was a +2. He had 6 shots, 3 hits, and a penalty, as you brought up. But he was fantastic. He was always creating, you know, with the puck, he was creating opportunities. as Getzlaf is passing the puck, Forsberg's kind of like shooting the puck and creating opportunities. And he was all over the place around the net a lot, and obviously he got that one goal. So those were the two best players I saw. Other than that, anyone else I really want to bring up that you haven't brought up? It's going to be interesting to see how long they can rely on Ritchie to continue to score these goals. I mean, he scored 3 goals in regular season time, and now he scored 4 in the playoffs. That's pretty crazy. He did have a nice goal in this game, but we'll see what happens. But both teams played a great game, and there were not many guys that I thought sucked other than the ones that I already talked about.
For me, for Anaheim, the guy I liked was Cogliano. I thought he had a pretty strong game. He's kind of like that quiet, unsung hero. Doesn't do I know his stat sheet wasn't great tonight, -1, 3 shots on goal, no hits, but he seemed to be at the right place at the right time. That Kesler-Cogliano line did well tonight defensively, shut down Johansson. I thought he was solid. As I mentioned, I wasn't entirely. Manson was the guy that struggled a lot tonight. Kosh had a rough game with a terrible penalty. For Nashville, I know that Subban got the first goal, but he was on the ice for the overtime goal. I don't know. I thought maybe a little bit inconsistent tonight. Wasn't entirely super enamored with him. But I did like liked Austin Watson. I like what Austin Watson is bringing. Lots of hustle, lots of energy. Like what he's bringing to the table. So a couple of unsung heroes that nobody's talking. Cogliano and Watson would be like my unsung heroes for the game.
Fair enough there, Kev. I just want to throw in a couple more facts that I completely forgot to mention. Both Rickard Rakell of the Anaheim Ducks and Mike Fisher of the Nashville Predators both left with injuries tonight. Rakell, 7 big goals in these playoffs so far. Definitely been one of their go-to guys. And Mike Fisher, your go-to face-off guy, out with an injury to his eye. Both these injuries, they're going to be crucial to their teams. Are we going to see either of these guys return back for the playoffs?
I have no idea.
No idea.
I'm not a doctor.
I can't even play one on TV. So.
All right, let's get to the chat and wrap this up. Let's go to Adam. Of course, Adam's in this chat. He wasn't on the live stream, but he is in the chat letting us know what he thinks.
Is he?
He says Weber wouldn't have put the puck in his own net. Weber probably wouldn't have scored that goal either. Adam says Anderson is the best goalie right now. Yes, he is. Adam says you need breaks to win. He also says, Brother Nero, I knew you'd come. # beat up Adam. And he says he agrees with Kev about the Senators, of course. And what else we got? Packer says the Subban own goal was a killer. Well, it ended the game. So, I mean, it was a killer. And SportsFX says, who is your Conn Smythe winners for each team right now? I'll let you guys go first, and I'll wrap that up.
I would go with Pekka Rinne for the Nashville Predators right now. Ryan Getzlaf for the Anaheim Ducks. For the Ottawa Senators, Craig Anderson. And for the Pittsburgh Penguins, Marc-Andre Fleury.
Getzlaf for Anaheim, Rinne for Nashville, Carlson for Ottawa, and this one will be a little odd. He hasn't been great, but I might throw, just to be different, I'm going to throw Phil Kessel a vote.
Okay. For me, Ottawa, Anderson, Pittsburgh, I would say Malkin just because he has the most points, even though, I don't know. Like, Fleury probably until, like, last game. Maybe if he comes back and plays a few more games, then yeah. Anaheim definitely gets Getzlaf. And Nashville, Rinne, just because of his stats. But, like, I don't know if there's really an MVP for Nashville. Like, they're all kind of playing – they're all playing good. I don't really know if there's one guy I would say is above everybody else. But Rinne, I would probably say.
I will say this. Philip Forsberg is the most exciting hockey player nobody talks about.
I mean, that's fair. That's completely fair. I think no one talks about him because He's in Nashville, and Nashville has been forgotten for so many years, and he was kind of involved in a forgotten trade by a lot of Washington Capitals fans early in his career when Washington traded him for Martin Erat, and Martin Erat went on to play like 3 games in a Capitals uniform. Forsberg has never been talked about because he's played in Nashville for his entire career. I think that's why.
Yep.
Fair enough. But
okay. Last couple questions here. We're getting some at the last few seconds. Packer, first off, was saying, I meant the momentum, Mitch, the killer goal. Yeah, I said the same thing. Packer says that this game was huge for them. I said the same thing. I said at the beginning of the broadcast, I think that the winner of this game is probably going to win the series. And going on that, Von Hook says, well, we see the Ducks versus the Senators in the Stanley Cup final, guys.
I think we can very well see that. I mean, in this series, I still think it's a great physical series. I still think that it's the physical offense of the Ducks versus the physical defense of the Nashville Predators. I still think that this is going to go far, and I still think it's going to go to 7 games. Ottawa, give them the credit that they are due for. They've been playing great hockey. Yes, have the Penguins sucked? Yes. Yes, have you been injury-riddled? Yes. Will that mean that you're eliminated? We'll find out, but we can definitely see that the Senators and the Ducks would face off once again in the Stanley Cup final. And if that happens, that would be so entertaining to watch because honestly, those teams have both been fighting for so long to finally reach that Stanley Cup final. So I think it would be awesome to watch.
this is my answer. If the Senators defeat Pittsburgh and win 4 games against Pittsburgh, and Anaheim wins 4 games against Nashville, then yes, we will see them in the Stanley Cup final.
Can we get a prediction, guys? Come on.
I'm not making a prediction. It's too early. Too early. I picked Pittsburgh and Nashville, so those are my predictions. I will stick with them. The question is no. I don't believe so. So there.
Well, there we have it. I mean, there's the prediction, and there's the. Has Mitch frozen?
Do we maybe wrap this up, or is there any other questions in the chat, or
any more questions in the chat? Well, by the looks of it, no, we have no more questions in the chat. Mitch, I have no idea is frozen. This is the first. This is a first for all the bottom line viewers right now that the host has frozen. We don't know what will happen, but I hope you guys enjoyed this recap. You know, it was Kev, it was Fitty Trent, and it was Mitch, of course. Tomorrow, we got the big game, the Pittsburgh Penguins versus the Ottawa Senators. Kev, I know that you don't like making predictions about the Stanley Cup final, but do we have a prediction for tomorrow's game?
I probably will imagine that Pittsburgh will win. That would be my prediction. I'm not saying Ottawa is going to go up 3-1. I think Pittsburgh will win this series, this game.
There we go. So we have Kev saying that Pittsburgh will win this game. Mitch, who just joined back in the host.
Bro, my laptop fell asleep.
We were just looking at you, and you were just going, and like I was ready for you to say something great.
So what'd you guys predict?
We were just.
I picked Pittsburgh. I picked Pittsburgh.
I'm picking Pittsburgh as well.
Oh, you guys are lame, man. Come on.
What are you guys
picking? Pittsburgh will win this series, so they're obviously going to win this game. I have to. That's the logic.
Oh, for the game or the series?
The game.
I thought you guys were picking the series.
No, man, we're picking.
I've already picked the series. We've done that already. I'm not. Mitch, I don't change midway. I stick with Pittsburgh and Nashville.
Why do you guys pick the team that you're cheering against, bro? Come on,
dude. I'm not cheering against Nashville.
It makes my job less fun. All right, it makes my job less fun. Anyways, I'm picking the Penguins tomorrow. Big bounce back game. They need a score in this game.
That's a big one.
I'm gonna say 3-1. Maybe 3-2.
This is the question, though. I think to me, I'm gonna be interested in seeing.
And I'm gonna say the Ducks win again. I'm gonna say the Ducks win again next game.
I'm gonna be interested to see how the Pittsburgh starts this game. I think the first 10 minutes.
Yes, that's crucial. Yeah,
will be very crucial.
All right, guys.
I think
anything else, Kev?
Nashville wins the next game.
All right. Anyways, guys, thanks for joining us. It's Mitch. It's Trent. It's Kev. Again, if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you're new. We'd love to have you. We do recaps of the Stanley Cup every single day. And also, like the video. Peace out.